let's start off though with hockey. And Leaf fans out there, all of you guys hoping and praying and that a Toronto-born Tom Wilson will come back to the Leafs eventually. That's not happening because he signed a brand new 7-year, $45.5 million contract. So for all you math wizards out there, that's $6.5 million as an annual average value. Wilson, of course, was one of the biggest forces for the Capitals when they won the Cup back in 2018. Tore his ACL in the 2022 playoffs, missed a whole bunch of time, came back last year, only played 33 games, scored 13 goals. James, I know you wish that you could have replaced Mitch Marner for Tom Wilson every day possible for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not going to happen. But this is a guy that could potentially be the next captain of the Washington Capitals once the great eight Alex Ovechkin does retire.
Yeah, well, I think Wilson's new deal will end 3 years after Ovi's current deal ends. And whether Ovi continues or not, I'm assuming he will, because I don't think he'll ever retire.
Yeah.
And he'll keep the C, of course. But yeah, for not just Leaf fans, I think for many fans of other teams out there, they're hoping that next summer, when he would be a UFA, would have been an opportunity to get Tom Wilson, because there's very few more popular players in the home fan base. Otherwise, you hate the guy, right?
Absolutely.
He's as close to Wendell Clark as you could get, right? He's a guy that can throw them, big hits, and scores. Not to the same extent as Wendell did, obviously. But my kind of player. I love those types of players, and they're rare nowadays in the NHL.
They're
a
definitely
true power forward.
Yeah. Look, I think he could have maybe waited a year, got a bigger, more dollars, but the 7 years is a really big term that he got, and he got some security there for a guy who, like I mentioned, is coming off an ACL injury. So it made sense. He was a guy that the Capitals wanted to keep around, a big part of their championship 5 years ago now. Producer Sean, you want to jump in? I hear you in my ear. Jump in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like this move for the Capitals. It's just, for me, what are the Capitals really doing right now? I think they're in a bit of a rebuild. They missed the playoffs for the first time in about 8 years last season, 12 points out. Their top six is fantastic if they can stay healthy, but their bottom six, not great. And just the teams around them in the Metropolitan Division are just getting a lot better. The Hurricanes, the Rangers, the Devils, obviously as early Cup favorites, maybe on the track for a dynasty, Justin.
They are.
But don't you think, Sean, though, that as long as Ovi's there, it won't ever be a full rebuild?
Yeah.
They'll have to retool.
I think with the Capitals, though, the biggest thing with the Capitals right now is the number one thing on their bullet is let Ovechkin break Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record. That's all that matters. They won their Stanley Cup. They got all that monkey off their back, and now they're just there to make sure Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record.
Is that a good thing, though? I mean, listen.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
You're telling me that's more important than trying to retool and go for another run?
We're going to talk about it in a bit, about Harry Kane and breaking the Premier League all-time scoring record, right? I think it does mean something. A guy who's put in this much service for that organization, brought them their first championship. He's going to break, if he breaks Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record, a record that nobody thought would ever be touched, right? If he can do that, wearing a Washington Capitals jersey, all with the same team, that's a big accomplishment. That's something that they would want to do, I think.
I agree with that, and I mean, I think it's possible. I think it happens within the next couple of years, and then Tom Wilson can break the record for most suspensions ever, because that guy is a dirty son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Whoa! Why are you? He is. He's dirty, but he's
dirty, man. He's dirty.
Plays on the edge.
Yeah, no, he's already got 5 suspensions. Suspended 20 games once.
That's true.
It could have been suspended a couple of more times. I remember. I think he was smashed and Artemi Panarin's head into the ice and only got $5,000 fine.
Well, that's a CBA issue.
Even despite his history, he really should have got suspended. Again, I like Tom Wilson. He plays on the edge. He plays a very, very strong game. He can get you 20 goals a season if he's healthy. I like this deal. I think it's fairly priced. You know what I mean? I think maybe a bit on the higher end, but again, you're getting a guy that the team loves, the community loves. TJ Oshie says he hopes his son grows up to be just like him.
Did he
I don't know.
say that?
Yeah, it's a quote.
Okay.
And I wouldn't vouch for that, but I don't know the man personally. But if he's like he is on the ice, I don't know if I'd want my son to be like that guy.
But you mentioned it. I mean, it's a 7-year deal, right? I'll be in his mid-30s when this thing's done.
Yeah.
So the first couple of years would be fine, but it might be the back end of the deal.
And I think
look at Lucic, for example, right?
Lucic.
Played a similar style of hockey.
And he didn't age very well.
Didn't age very well, right.
Hey, when you look at it across the NHL, that's what a lot of teams are doing now. They're signing guys to longer-term deals for shorter AAV because of the cap constraints. But then, you know what? That Kadri, Huberdeau last year in Calgary. Those are great deals right now, but in a couple of years, that's going to be an anchor on your franchise that nobody's going to want to touch. So that, it's a tidy piece of business for the Caps, but we'll see how that ages.
What do you think?